DaVinci Resolve. How much VRAM does it really need? Hey there! In my previous videos, I explored the difference the OS makes, Windows versus Linux, for DaVinci Resolve. I also tested how the 5070 Ti stacks against the 9070 XT. Well, it's time to take the testing to a new level with two new cards. The 1560 Ti with 16GB of VRAM and the plain old 5070 with just 12GB of VRAM. And you're not going to believe the results. Quick refresher, my test system is composed of a Ryzen 7 5800X and 32GB of DDR4 memory. I ran all the tests in Windows 11 and Rocky Linux 10. I rendered the same project twice to average out the variations, and I exported just the video, no sound. More details regarding the project composition at the end of the video. So let's just jump straight into the results to discuss them. But stick to the end to see the full picture with all the OS and GPU comparison. Looking at the Windows results, and having the 3070 Ti as a benchmark, we have our first shock. The 5060 Ti actually beats the 5070. The 5070 is 2.5 to 3 times faster than the 3070 Ti, but the 5060 Ti is 2.8 to nearly 4 times faster. Comparing strictly the 50 series GPUs, the picture gets clearer. The 5060 Ti is 13 to 26% faster than the 5070, with the 5070 Ti being 2 times to 2.6 times faster. Weird? Definitely. But what if we compare Linux performance? After all, Linux proved to be the secret sauce to unleash the 3070 Ti's performance. The different way Linux addresses memory shines through again. The 5070's raw power surpasses the 5060 Ti. And let me remind you again, DaVinci Resolve Studio for Linux does not support H.264 and H.265 exports for AMD Radeon. Hence, no Radeon in the list. But let's narrow the comparison just to the 50 series GPUs. The 5070 actually pulls ahead with around 10% to 20% performance gains. And all of that just proves how important VRAM really is. To prove this, let's compare the performance gap between Windows and Linux for the same GPUs. The 5060 Ti with 16GB of VRAM shows a gain of just 5%. The 5070 Ti, also a 16GB VRAM GPU, shows a gain of 10%. Whereas the 5070, a GPU with just 12GB of VRAM, shows an improvement of 32 to 56%, and that's very significant. As a reminder, the 3070 Ti with just 8GB of VRAM shows an improvement of 37 to 95%. So what does the overall Windows chart look like? The 5070 Ti leads the charts, followed by a very respectable 9070 XT, followed by the 5060 Ti and the 5070. Removing the old 3070 Ti from the comparison, the 9070 XT looks even better. I have to tell you, it really makes me reconsider AMD as a viable option. There are caveats, but you can work around them, and the performance speaks loudly. And finally, let's look at the complete picture. The figures are clear. No matter what you edit, looking forward, you really need 16GB of VRAM. Now, what about the conclusions? First and foremost, you really need 16GB of VRAM. Period. There's no discussion about this. 8GB doesn't cut it, and 12GB is also bullshit. If you don't have a 16GB GPU and you're doing editing of anything over 4K video, go out and buy one now while you still can find them. Or look at the second-hand market for a 40 series GPU with 16GB of VRAM. Working with log files, with color corrections, with OpenGate files above 4K or even 8K video, you really need 16GB of VRAM for decent performance. Looking at the render speeds, it was absolutely obvious that the 5070 Ti was losing massively while processing 6.5K OpenGate videos coming from my Panasonic Lumix S9 or processing the 8K videos coming from the Canon R5C. The 5060 Ti, while overall slower, kept the same pace processing these files. In Linux, the problem was less obvious. Whatever Linux does to the memory interaction between the GPU and the system is brilliant. Second point, let me restate, you need to act now. The prices are rising every day and soon you might not find any stock. Do not wait if you need the GPU. Third point, I think it's time AMD leans into the potential advantage it has here. The 9070 XT relies on GDDR6 memory, which relieves a bit of the pressure on producing GPUs right now. Admittedly, they can't ramp up the production immediately, and they are also going after the AI market, but they have a clear opening here, both in the gaming sector and in DaVinci Resolve. They need to step on the gas and work with Blackmagic to catch up on features like voice training, for example. If you found this video useful, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And as promised, here is the breakdown of the video benchmark that I have set up. Okay, so how did I test the performance? In Windows, you have the Puget benchmark that is able to test your DaVinci install, but there is no such thing for Linux. So I tried to simulate a very heavy workload for DaVinci Resolve, and I went into my archives and selected some videos that I felt were representative for a heavy workload. Let's go through them one by one. First, I had a C4K video coming from a Canon C70 shot in C-Log. Second, an 8K video coming from a Canon R5C shot also in C-Log. Thirdly, a 4K open gate video coming from my DJI Action 5 Pro camera, which uses extra space above and below the frame. The video was shot in D-Log. Fourth video was a 6.5K open gate video coming from my Panasonic Lumix S9 shot in Vlog. And the fifth file was a 4K video that I shot on my mobile phone using the Blackmagic video app. In order to make things hard, I proceeded to put all of the videos on the timeline. I went and corrected the colors on each of them individually, going through DaVinci Color Space Transform, from log space to DaVinci color space, applying color corrections, and then from DaVinci color space to Rec 709. I did this for all the videos, even the one coming from the mobile phone. Where the file had extra room, I did a bit of zooming in and repositioning the frame. Then, to complicate things even further, I applied an overall node for the entire timeline with the film look simulation. And in order to get a more coherent benchmark result, I copied the block of files 4 times in order to have a longer timeline to render so that the differences would be more obvious.